My first question for you is, Cam, where is my damn case?
Yeah,
That's
right. I
such a
need
great tagline. Was this incredible movie something that came across your desk? Were you auditioning for Nick? What was it about Blowback or Nick himself that really made you want to be a part?
well, I mean, it was so this was one of my, I think it was the first job that I'd gotten after the whole COVID situation. And so I had just been around my kids for oh, like almost a year and a half at that point. And so when I read the script, that was kind of the first thing that jumped out at me was, the lengths that he would go in order to save, protect his own child. And at that moment, dealing with everything and COVID and my kids, that spoke volumes to me. And I could really relate to that mindset of you're just willing to do whatever it takes. And so that was kind of, and then, they offered it to me and it just seemed like the right fit at that time in my life where it was just, since everything with the kids and, maybe I wouldn't have robbed a bank, but I would go to any lengths, and that I could really relate to. And that was important to me. So yeah.
I was just going to ask you, that's a great segue. Did they tell you how far he'd go? I mean, obviously they said there's no limits, apparently.
Right, and I don't think there. I mean, he was. I mean, he went pretty far. But then he also, what kind of made it interesting was that he obviously had gotten over an old lifestyle and had tried to put that to rest to get through that part of him, grow up and get clean. And to be, and even with his former flame or relationship, to kind of go back into that world but still have like tunnel vision that this is the only reason I'm doing it is to for my daughter, for my daughter, for my daughter, kind of changes his perspective on why he did any of that. And so I don't know, I think he would have gone just about to any lengths in order to save his daughter. I mean, because I would, and I could see him being that same guy. So yeah, and he had a specific skill set that just so happened that he can rob a bank. Works out perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, the film sort of reminds me of Gone in 60 Seconds because you assemble this ragtag crew, which is what initially drew me to it as well. Were you familiar with any of your crew members before working with them?
Uh, no, I mean, aside from Randy Couture, yeah, I remember when I shot Never Back Down, they had me watch like his highlight reels and his old fights. And so when I had this very specific image of him when I first met him in Vegas. And I don't know, my expectations, I feel like I could read his mind, and everything was scary. But he ended up being an absolute sweetheart, and he was a pleasure to work with. But there was some intimidation factors. Yeah, that was screaming validation, run, run, run. He was a dog.
You're obviously in great physical shape. Was there anything they made you do specifically, though, in order, well, not made you, was there anything you had to change up with your routine or something you had to do in order to be prepped for all the stunt work for this?
Um, mm, I mean, no, I mean, not terribly. I mean, try to kind of stay at something to where I can, if a job comes up, I don't have to like take months at a time to kind of get back. But no, this one was. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was COVID, or maybe it was just they. If anything was crazy or anything like that, they would have stunt people jump in before I even got the chance to say, "Hey, let me try." And there's already people; they're already shooting it. And so they were definitely safety conscious, more so maybe than in the past. But if I could convince them to let me try, they would take some convincing. But I'm persuasive, so I got to at least try things. Sometimes I was like, it's too much. It's too much. But yeah, no, I being able to do your own stuff just feels, I don't know, it kind of grounds you to the world that you're supposed to be living in, and and it's a perk of the job to be able to get to do those kinds of things. So
Well, one of my most nerve-wracking scenes was watching the electrification, uh, and I can only imagine what some of your most memorable or most intense scenes to film were. What were some of those moments?
when I was crawling through the dirt after being shot,
Aha, that was going to be one of my guesses.
and it's not, I don't know why things pop in my head, because obviously when we got to set, it was dark, and we're like on the outskirts of Vegas, so it's not like the Vegas that we know. We're like on the outskirts of Vegas, and so when we get to set, it's dark, and then they're like, all right, well, you're gonna be crawling in this field and this dirt, and I'm like, well, I don't know what is in this dirt and what is in this field, and it's pitch black. And so that, I don't know why it kind of stuck in my head, where I'm like literally like just burying myself in this dirt that I have no idea. Like I was like, I should have came here in the morning to see and check out what I'm digging in. It just kept coming into my head. It's like dirt's in my mouth. I'm like, I don't know where this dirt's been. I don't know if I'm like, I don't know where I am. It was that kept popping into my head, which was funny now in hindsight. Not funny in the moment, but it was funny after the
Looking
fact.
back, I knew.
Once I came back with no diseases or anything weird or anything like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the whole film is basically an adrenaline rush. How did you shake off a long day of shooting?
Um. Well, I mean, we shot. I mean, we shot this in like Marchish of 2021, and so you'd think, oh, we're in Vegas, but Vegas at that time was weird, and so we just kind
You
of
can't do anything at that point.
can't do anything. And then there's also this, like, you have this worry in the back of your head that, oh, you're going to be the guy that gets COVID somehow and shuts down production. So it's like, you're just like, oh, nobody talked to me, nobody sneezed next to me, and go straight to your room. And so that was unfortunate, but then also maybe, helpful, where you could just sit, focus on what you're doing. You don't have any outside distractions. But what's funny is on the last day of shooting, I'm not sure why they even test you on the last day, but they tested me on the last day of shooting. The next day I go home, or I fly home to Los Angeles, and I get text messages from like the California Health Department that I had just tested positive for COVID. So on the last day of filming, I was positive for COVID, which was a nice parting gift. They're like, hey, and here's your parting gift. You get COVID.
Some people give you a wrap gift of your director's chair.
I got COVID that I could give to my entire family. But at least no one on set. They sent me a photo of it, like, the crew and cast and everyone. Everyone's all negative, negative, negative. It gets to my name, it's like bright red, positive. But at least we finished the movie, so I guess that's all that matters. And my family's okay. So
Knock on wood, everything.
Everything worked out. Yeah, it was funny.
What do you think it is about Blowback that's just going to make it such a fast, fan favorite, intense action crime drama?
I mean, just that it's fast, intense crime drama, and it's supposed to be, yeah, fun, exciting, and the fact that it's like in Vegas has this kind of darker element, and yeah, hopefully people just, I mean, to be entertained, for an hour and a half. That's kind of as much as I like to think about any of this, is if we can entertain people for an hour and a half, especially during now when the world is what it is, I think that's, yeah, a good day at the office. So
What's next for you? What have you been busy working on lately?
um, I just finished a movie called Violent Night, um, which is a Christmas movie. I mean, it's Die Hard meets Santa Claus, and
Oh, cool.
David Harbour plays Santa Claus. And there's a lot of action, and it's a very funny. And my role is very funny. I don't know if the movie's very funny. My role is supposed to be very funny, and so hopefully it, turns out good. I think it comes out in November or Christmas time, I guess, since it's technically a Christmas movie. But we'll see. We'll see. It was a good. We had a lot of fun with that one for sure. So.
You do a lot of action dramatic work. Is there something about these roles that really draw you to them?
Yeah, and that's why this one was so weird, or the Violent Night was so weird because everyone else is doing all of the action and everyone else is doing all of the drama, but I was the comic relief somehow. I don't know why anybody hired me for the comic relief, and no action. Like, I think my biggest action scene was me running away from the action through a window. That was my big action sequence. That was a nice change of pace. I mean, funny roles and comic roles are, and even, bad guys, there's just such, I don't know, it's almost like you're not even acting, it's just like you're having fun, you're just not even working. That's something that I really hang on to when I am working, is just being able to play around, have fun, not have it feel like a job, not have to think about any of the other stuff that goes along with work in Hollywood, and I can just play.
What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the wonderful work that you do on our screens?
Oh, thank you for supporting. It's been a roller coaster ride, but it's been fun, and keep watching, because yeah, there's some fun stuff coming out in the next year or so. So keep it going.